And those for you who are new, it's socially transmitted disease, just so you know. And so each one of us will be relating something to our personal lives, and I promise you we would not get up here and preach to you something about that we wouldn't lay down ourselves. Yeah. And so this past summer, we were on the bus, and I was standing up on a moving bus, two combinations that are not good for me. So, we're driving, and after I almost face planted a couple times, I decided I'm going to sit down. But I didn't think I could make it back to the seat, so I was like, I'm just going to sit on the floor. But someone's foot was in my way. So I looked down, and I was like, hey, watch out, I'm coming down. And as I start to sit down, slowly I hear from behind me,
Austin Washburn.
Wide load! From the one, the only Austin Washburn.
I was there.
Can I get a name in from all my girls? None of you would like to hear that coming from a guy's mouth. Even though I know that he truly did not mean it.
Amen.
Even though I truly know that he did not mean it, it's still something that hurts. And we have all been hurt in this room. So, tonight I'm going to be talking to you about bitterness. And in that situation, I had 3 options. And my 3 options were, 1, I could punch Austin. But Katie did that for me, so I did it. 2, I could just forget it ever happened and not bother with it anymore and just, throw it off to the side, forget about it. Or I could act like I forgot about it and still hold on to it, which is what most of us do in this room.
Yep.
And so tonight with bitterness, some of you may not know that you're still holding on to that one thing. Some of you may not know that somebody wronged you, but yet you won't get rid of that bitterness inside of you. And I'm going to be relating bitterness to the disease of Lou Gehrig's disease, otherwise known as ALS. Lou Gehrig's disease is a disease that starts on a nerve, and it's a muscle disease. It deals with your muscles to where you don't have control over your muscles anymore. And it starts on a nerve, and it starts out small, and then it grows into something bigger. And on the ALS website, I read that it says that symptoms may be so slight that frequently it is overlooked. Sometimes we overlook our anger. Sometimes we overlook what someone did to us and still hold on to it even though we don't know that it's still there. And so some of you have overlooked your illness tonight. Just because somebody wronged you, doesn't mean that you have a right or an entitlement to anything. In Luke chapter 6, verses 27 through 30, it says, "To you who are ready for the truth, I say this. Love your enemies, let them bring out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with energies of prayer for that person. If someone slaps you in the face, stand there and take it. If someone grabs your shirt, gift wrap your best coat and make a present of it. If someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. Live generously." I don't know about you guys, but when somebody does something to me, my first response is, I'm going to pray for them. That's not my first response. And I come up here standing in front of you guys. I'm a human being. I get mad, I get angry, but my first response is not to pray for them. It is in my flesh to get mad and to want revenge, to want to get back at them. That is my first response. But our first response is to let go and give it to God. And there are symptoms of Lou Gehrig's disease, and one of them is weakness. Like I said earlier, that Lou Gehrig's disease, with it starts out small, and it begins to grow into something bigger. And with that is bitterness. When you are bitter about something, it starts out very small. You're just like, oh, they did that to me. And then you begin to continue to think about it, and think about it, and think about it, and then you just don't let it go, and then it begins to consume you, and you become weak to the world around you. You become weak to gossip. You become weak to anger. You become weak to frustration. You become weak to anything. When you are mad about somebody, it is the easiest to go and gossip about them. And I am 100%. I am that person. I will, if someone makes me mad, all I want to do is just spew what's out of my mouth. And in the Bible it says, out of the abundance of your heart speaks, your mouth speaks. You know? So what is truly inside of your heart is going to come out of your mouth. And one of the other symptoms of Lou Gehrig's disease is twitching. Twitching is not a thing that you can control. Your body just does it naturally. And it's not something that you can control or your brain can control, your body can control. And with Lou Gehrig's disease, when you're bitter, there are some things that you can't control. Once that person walks into the room and you see them, you're just like, oh, I don't like them. I don't want to talk to them. They get on my nerves. Oh, why did she wear that?
What?
So that is our first initial response, is that when, like twitching, you can't help it. But once you're bitter about something, you can't help what you think about that person until you give it up.
That's right.
So, the third one is depression. After Lou Gehrig's disease, after you have Lou Gehrig's disease for a really long time, and your muscles begin to give out, and you can't do anything with your body anymore, you just sit there. You can't move, you can't do anything, and you can't speak really. So you have to have like a machine speak for you. You have to have somebody else do everything for you. And once you sit in your bitterness all the time, you begin to become depressed because you say, well, they did that to me, but why aren't they reaping what they sowed? They did that to me, why aren't they getting what they deserve? You know, you become depressed because you think that person is not getting what you deserve. And I don't know about you guys, but I serve a great and a mighty God, and He can get rid of anything inside of you.
Yeah.
And tonight, I think it's time for some of you to get rid of that bitterness inside of you, something that someone might have wronged you for. And I even today, standing here in front of you today, I was bitter about some things, and I had to get on my own knees and pray to God, say, I don't want to deal with that anymore. It's in your hands. It's not mine to deal with. It's not theirs to deal with. And I know that my God didn't make a mistake on myself, so I know that my God didn't make a mistake on that person. So how can I look at somebody else and say that they have an unclean face when my face is unclean too? I can't ask somebody to clean their face when I can't even clean my own.
Yeah.
And I think that some of you guys need to look at yourself in the mirror and clean your face before you look at somebody else. And there is a cure to every single one of these diseases tonight. And my cure is love. As I was writing this sermon, I had Pandora on, and Kim Walker, How He Loves, came on. And I know it's such an old song, and sometimes we just push it to the side like, oh, that song is so overplayed. But He just began speaking to me, saying that love is the cure to everything. Love is your cure. Love that person more. Like it says in here, love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you, not the worst.
Yeah.
Let your enemies bring out the best in you. If you respond to them with love, what more can they expect than to come to your Savior, the Savior that you serve, the Savior that you adore? And this is going to be a great night, and it's time for some of you to get rid of those diseases. And I think your cure tonight is love.
Ooh.
And here's Sydney.